If you're a coach, a trainer, or a consultant, perhaps a therapist, and you want to scale your business, you really do need to create online digital courses so that you can scale that business and reach a global market. My name's Michael Brook, and if we haven't met before, I help expert entrepreneurs to create, market, and sell online digital assets so they can reach that global market. Now, when expert entrepreneurs or solopreneurs first give up their 9 to 5, there are 6 prime ways that most people choose to monetize their experience and expertise. But unfortunately, not all those ways of making money as an expert entrepreneur were created equally. Some of them don't really drive enough money at all, and some of them are very, very high effort. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take those 6 common ways that expert entrepreneurs monetize their experience and expertise, and I'm going to plot them on this grid. I've got a grid here on this whiteboard, and it's the effort versus value grid. I'm going to plot those 6 ways that most people earn their living as an expert entrepreneur on this grid. You're going to see that they're not all made equally. So first of all, what have we got? Well, the first thing that a lot of people do, and a lot of my students have been doing until they start making their online course, is done-for-you services. Now, done-for-you services, things like, web designers, marketers, people who do things for other people, that is a very high effort business model. And because it's high effort, it's difficult to scale, which also means it's very, very low income, relatively speaking, especially if you've been used to having a big job and a good income. Done-for-you services really can be so high effort, difficult to scale, and a lot of people I speak to feel that when they're doing that, they aren't really earning enough money, and they're certainly not earning what they deserve. Something else that we often see people going and doing is either being a coach or a consultant. So we'll call them CCs, coaches and consultants. Now, depending on the niche you're in, coaching and consultancy can be reasonably high income. But of course, it's also reasonably high effort because you've got to be there. If you're going to be a coach, you need to be, you usually need to be with the people that you're coaching. Even if you've got an online coaching business or a telephone-based coaching business, it's still swapping time for money. In fact, only this week I was speaking to one of my students who has had a coaching business where he has got 36 clients who have 1 hour's coaching every week. So that's 36 hours a week he's tied to doing coaching with people. Well, for me, that's not a business that you can scale. Another business that a lot of people turn to is training. This is something that I did when I first went on my own in 1999. I set up a training business. Now, because I was working in, quite a high end, I earned quite well. In fact, I was earning as much as £3,000 per day when I was training. But of course, you don't train every day, so it's still very difficult to scale. And also, training, you do have to be there. You have to be with your customers in order to train them. So once again, really difficult to scale. And even if you're in a really good niche where you can earn good money, it's really not enough. And by the way, some niches, some businesses, some areas such as food, etc., people that do training in those places find it very hard to earn really good money. Now, another thing that people do when they become expert entrepreneurs and first give up their 9 to 5 is they go speaking. They find spaces on other people's stages and they speak for a living. But the thing about that is, it's very, very difficult to scale that because for most people that I know, get 1 or 2 speaking gigs per month. And even if you're earning quite well, that becomes very difficult to scale. So that's something else that's very time for money orientated. What else do people do when they first leave their 9 to 5 and they want to monetize their experience and expertise? Well, one thing that people often do is they write books. Now, Books, once again, very difficult to scale unless you're very famous and you know that you are going to sell millions and millions of copies of your book. And also, you can't really charge that much money for books. You know, 10 or 20 pounds, 10 or 20 dollars is probably the sweet spot for writing books. So there's another way that people earn money once they leave their 9 to 5 and become expert entrepreneurs, people in their, you know, we're talking about people in their helping professions. And this other way gets you up into this sweet spot here, which is high income, low effort. Now, the way that you get low effort is when you create something once and sell it many, many times, or when you automate the process, when you literally build a machine that takes your product to market 24/7 to a global market. And of course, that thing that we're talking about, that way of earning a living, is when you create an online digital course. So online digital courses really do put you in that sweet spot up there and high value, low effort. And that's because you create it once and you sell it many, many times. And you create a machine, you create some automation so you can be selling it 24/7 to that global market. So what are the benefits of creating an online digital course? Well, of course, you can create a premium course so you can charge a good amount of money for it. Another benefit of creating an online digital course is that it can reduce, if not completely take away, your time for money liability. Because of course you can be selling your course whilst you sleep, while you're on holiday, through this automated process. So that's a really good way of taking what you know, what you do every day, your experience and expertise, repackaging it and selling it across the world. So it reduces your time for money liability, but it also builds real significant authority in your niche. When people see that you've created an online digital course, they know that it's got a lot of moving parts and they know you must be an expert in your space. And so that builds instant authority. Far more authority than speaking or writing books, for example. Another thing that creating an online digital course does is it does allow you to reach that global market 24/7, which means that you are not constrained anymore by geography or time zone. And then there's another thing that creating an online course does, and people often don't think about this, and that is that it gives you security. So it builds security into what is essentially a solopreneur business. Because when we are solopreneurs, when we're expert entrepreneurs, we are tending to work alone most of the time. Which means that if we can't work for any reason, we simply don't earn. So if you fall ill, you can't earn. If you need to go on holiday, you can't earn. If you have to look after a loved one because they've fallen ill, you can't earn. So that is the 6 main ways that expert entrepreneurs monetize their experience and expertise. And they're not all created equally, as you can see. Some, like done-for-you services, are really time-consuming, really tying. And even if you are a coach or a consultant or a trainer where you are earning a reasonable amount of money, it's virtually impossible to scale and there is still a massive time for money liability. But when you create an online digital course, it puts you right in that sweet spot in the top right hand quadrant where you can charge high prices and automate the whole process. Now, if you'd like to learn more about how you can create your own online digital course, I've got a webinar training that you can have where you will learn how you can create your own online digital course in 12 weeks, even if you've never done it before. On this training, I take you step by step through a 12-week window where I show you what you need to do every week for 12 weeks so that you can create, market and sell your own online digital course. The link to that is below and I'll see you on that training.